May I ask you a quick question before we start?
Yeah.
Why do you have a Blanton's Glencairn here? Well, we're doing a Scotch review. A Scotch? Hey everybody, my turn now. Scotch review here. My name is Harrison.
Chris.
With everything whiskey here, Brothers Barrel. We got
18. She can drive.
We got a Viking Pride 18-year Highland Park here. I said that in the very wrong order, but still the same stuff. So
They say it's made with pride in Orkney.
yes, Orkney, in the Orkney Islands of Scotland. So let's see, the Orkney Islands. This actually, the Highland Park Distillery is the northernmost distillery in Scotland. This distillery is really cool, and the Viking Pride is my favorite of the Viking Legend series of the Highland Parks. I believe, though, at least what I know of is Viking Scars, the 10-year, Viking Honor, the 12-year, and then the Valkyrie, and then the Cask Strength Highland Park, which I haven't tried yet, and then this guy.
It's a cool bottle.
Very nice. It's beautiful, yeah.
Artfully done. We gonna drink some whiskey?
We're gonna drink some whiskey. Let's see, a little history about the distillery. Magnus Jönsson, I think is how you pronounce the word. Magnus Jönsson. Straight Viking heritage. He's a dude that was back in the 1700s, late 1700s, illegally distilling whiskey. His daytime job. Bro was a church goer. He was a church officer on his daytime job. Nighttime illegally distilling this thing.
Right on.
so it says he was distilling. He was caught illegally distilling in 1798, and I believe around like 30 years later, in 1826, he was able to get it legally distill his whiskey. Yeah, he has straight Viking heritage. His ancestors were just full-blooded Vikings, which is, thus the Viking Pride. He wanted to stick to those like Nordic roots. And I don't know the full story, but let's see. I forget who it was like between there was a marriage between the Scottish and the Vikings.
Oh, I kind of heard this story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I think like in order to pay their payment for that wedding was the Orkney Islands. And that was their way of like paying him instead of using money or something like that. I don't know if I'm completely accurate with that, but that's if I remember correctly.
Huh.
And yeah, these islands are just rough winds, hills, Greenland everywhere. There's like hardly any trees. They make their own barley.
Right on.
Yeah. So I don't know if you're gonna get on the nose. They do a little bit of peat.
Yeah, really light.
So that's the thing too, which is why I'm interested to see what he thinks of this. Most bourbon drinkers don't enjoy peaty, smoky whiskeys. This is hardly at all phenolic. A little bit of ppm in there, not much, but it is in there. So yeah, they did use peat to smoke it a little bit, but it should definitely not overpower the yummy floral, dried fruity flavors that you're gonna get. So
yeah, it's super light when I'm getting a sniff.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, like I can tell it's there, but it's not different from like the Wild Turkey funk, where that's kind of like a robust, earthy, leathery, but like it's just enough,
right?
Where it's like, oh, this is just its own thing, which is kind of cool.
Yeah, that might be why I like Russell's Reserve so much, like that Wild Turkey funk.
Oh, for sure.
Because of like this stuff that I'm into.
That's what.
And this is like so. This is all Grass Valley, harsh winds. It's just heathery. Which is what I get on the nose. I'm just gonna go buy heather flowers and just have you smell them, just so you can see.
I talked to Nikki. Apparently, we have heather on the property. I asked her, I'm like, do you know what that is? And she's like, yeah, we have it. It smells good. It's interesting. It has that light smoke for me.
Yep.
A little bit of that floralness kind of past it, which I guess would be the heather because it's a little more of like a mix of grassy and florally. So
yeah, and if you can get by the peat, you also get the barrel a little bit here. You get that because it also was in a sherried oak barrel.
Oh,
yeah. So
sherry, back to the sherry.
Yes, sir. I'm gonna go right on in here.
I'm gonna try it too. And there's the peat. It's not overpowering. I get a little bit of like the spice with it, which is like really nice, but the smoke wants to come up to my nose.
It does.
It's super light.
Right.
It's just something I'm not used to. I can drink this.
One thing I noticed too, so it was with this guy, 18 year, it's like I think $170 bottle now. I let it sit. I take my time when I have a pour of this, and as it sits over time in the glass, the smoke isn't as present. It's there, but it doesn't want to over. It's like it's just it's supportive. It's not as much wanting to be
forward,
front and center. Yeah, it's more supportive. You'll be more supported by the floral, dried, fruity notes, and because what I get too is a little bit of apricot here on the taste.
Interesting.
Apricot, rich honey.
I'll probably have to wait and let it open up for me to kind of start getting those notes. But
yeah, I'm trying to think too, because there are other people that I've heard that tried this also get a little bit of a chocolatey note to it. If anything, dark chocolate.
Okay.
But I think I have to let it sit a little bit for me to kind of get more notes out of it.
Yeah.
Can I get used to the dram?
Yeah, this is nowhere near as chocolatey as some of those other scotches we did. Yeah, that last blind we did. Salted peat smoke notes. Getting a little more than a note on me, but I'm not a Scotch guy, so it's a cool bottle. 18 years. What were you doing 18 years ago? I don't even know how old I was. I think I was 10.
I was like 7.
That's crazy.
I was like past the I'm a big kid now stage in my life with the pull-ups.
I want the top bunk. I'm a big boy.
Man, I really get into that.
I'm getting a little bit of the chocolate kind of on the nose now.
Yeah, me too, man. You just gotta let it sit a second.
It's tasty. Much more smoke than this, or peat. Excuse me. I don't know if I could handle too much more. It's good. I probably wouldn't reach for this on my own. At least not yet. But it's definitely like one of those whiskeys that get you into that peat.
Apricot. Boom. There it is. Especially right there. Apricot. Sorry to interrupt, but I definitely don't expect you to reach for this. I don't expect you to necessarily enjoy it. I'm just trying to broaden your palate a little bit into Scotch. See what a bourbon guy thinks of it. It's got a lot of different things in it. He doesn't like smoke, but this has a little bit in it. Maybe too much for him. But man, it's just because I love smoky whiskeys. So, if I'm in the mood, but also I really also like sherry sherry oak cask whiskeys. This just kind of
that's a great mix. That stuff is a bourbon lover's dream right there for Scotch.
Yeah, I mean, I love the distillery. It's man, I'm trying to think. This is actually one of the lowest phenolic distilleries. This is one of the distilleries that put the least amount of peat in their whiskeys. Actually,
I can jump on board with that.
I think it's like in the top 5. Maybe it's like the most less peat distillery in Scotland. As far as putting peat, but I don't know for sure. But yeah, and again, as I let it sit, man, it's just.
And so like what we drank the other night with the sherry stuff, like that's just like a whole different subsection of Scotch. Like that's not like their.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
No. Yeah.
So that's like a special.
These are the
thing
Orkney Islands. This is a complete different area of the world than all that.
Okay, but like Glenmorangie, like that was our winner, I think, of our blind.
La Santa.
La Santa. That stuff was good. Go get yourself some. If you like Buffalo Trace, go pick up a La Santa.
It's like $56.
Man, that is a Scotch for the bourbon guy. Whew. What was I saying? Oh yeah, so Glenmorangie. Do they have is their normal lineup like peated Scotch?
No.
No?
Not at all.
Just a different island that doesn't do peat, or?
Yeah. They're Speyside. Speysides never do peat. So.
Speyside. It's good. For peat, it's good.
All right.
Would I ask for this at a bar? No.
He wouldn't. I would.
If he poured it for me, would I drink it? Yeah.
Solid. You Scotch lovers out there, it is pricey. I did mention like $170, $175 now. Maybe more. I don't know. But okay, honestly, okay.
Is it worth that?
For me, this is worth it.
Okay.
For me. honestly, it is worth it. I paid $150 for it.
Nice.
It's just, it is over time. I got this closer to a year ago, I think, something like that. Over time, it is a little pricier, but I'm trying to think. A good alternative to this, which I don't have with me now, it's called the Tamdu 10-year.
We can put that up here.
Yeah. The Tamdu 10-year, sherry oak cask as well, but it has very similar notes to it, I've noticed. The fruity, dried fruits, the kind of the nuts, and the spices. Very similar to this in my opinion. No peat though. Take the peat out. So that might be more his drift. We'll probably do that. We'll probably get the Tamdu on here. One of my favorite scotches too.
Pour it.
So good.
I'll drink it.
But yeah, if you wanted a good, more affordable alternative, I believe the Tamdu 10-year is about $70. So I cut $100 off this. You got yourself a pretty good alternative. But yeah.
But yeah, if you like a little bit of peat and you like cool looking bottles and you like good juice, according to the Scotch guy, Highland Park 18, right there.
Viking Pride. Thank you so much for joining us here at Brother Barrel with Everything Whiskey. My name is Harrison.
And I'm Chris.
We'll see you next time. Thanks for joining. I love that rich honey flavor, man.